Perek Memvav, page Samachay. We're beginning a new Perek. Not only are we beginning a new Perek, but we're beginning a new Sugya, a new topic in Tanya. From Perek Memvav through Perek Memtes, that's 4 prakim, is one topic. And the topic is Ahavas Hashem, but as a very specific type of Ahavas Hashem, a very specific form of Ahavas Hashem, which is arriving at a love for Hashem through the idea of Kamayim Hapanim Lapanim Kein Lev Ha'adam La'adam, by contemplating Hashem's kindness for us, that automatically arouses within us a reciprocal love for Hashem. That's going to be the topic of the next 4 prakim. Incidentally or not incidentally at all, over the next 4 prakim, we are going to be doing a lot of learning about davening. Because throughout these 4 prakim, the Alter Rebbe is going to examine different parts of the davening, specifically Birchas Kriya Shema, and the Alter Rebbe is going to reveal to us the deeper meaning within within the different parts of Birchas Kriya Shema and Kriya Shema, what we're saying. And these prakim are very elementary in order to be able to daven in a way of chassidus and to be able to have a deeper understanding of everything that's going on in davening. These 4 prakim are quite elementary. And let's get started. Perek Memvav. V'yesh derech yasher lifnei ish. There is a way which is straight, and it's a straight way before every person. Shava l'chol nefesh. This is something which is equally applicable to everyone. It's not, you don't have to be about madrega to arrive at this level of ava. It's shava l'chol nefesh. The Alter Rebbe says it's for everyone, and the Alter Rebbe knows everyone. The Alter Rebbe knew his chassidim, and he knows us, and he's telling us this is a ava which is shava l'chol nefesh.
Have we seen this language before in the previous? I feel like we've seen it before. No?
Yasher lifnei ish, yes, but it's going to get not shava, and then it gets better. V'karev hadavar me'oid. Me'oid.
Easy to do.
Not just the pasuk says ki karev elecha hadavar me'oid. Alter Rebbe here doesn't say me'oid.
Two mode.
Me'oid. It is very, very accessible. Le'oirer u'lehoyer oir ha'ava, to awaken and to illuminate the oir of the ava hatakua u'mutsuteres beliba, which is hidden within the heart. Liyis me'ira, to cause it that it should be radiantly bright, betoikef oira, with all the strength of its light, ke'esh bo'era, like a burning fire, bizgalos libeyameche, revealed in the heart and in the mind, to the point that a person has such a love for Hashem, limser nafshe la Hashem, to the point that a person is willing to give up his life for Hashem, and obviously v'gufa, he's willing to give up his body, u'mo'idoi, and all his possessions, and with a love which is b'chol leiv or b'chol nefesh mo'ed, with all one's heart, with all one's soul, and with all that everything has. B'umka delibha, from the depths of the heart, be'emes la'mitei, with absolute truth. U'bifrat, and this is especially true, b'shas krishma birchiseha, that we're able to arrive at this love while saying krishma, and the barachas of krishma, k'moshi is boyer, as will be explained in the coming prakim. Now this is a big statement the Alter Rebbe is making. He's saying, Karev hadavar ma'oid ma'oid. Now there's something about this love, even though that this is, we've discussed numerous avenues to love already up to this point. We've talked about Ava Rabbah, we've talked about Ava Salem, we've talked about the Ava of Kibra the Yishtadl, we've talked about the Ava of Kibra of Navshi Hivisicha, and last week in Perek Memhei we talked about arriving at an Ava through Midas HaRachman. We've talked about many different types of love. But the Alter Rebbe never used any language which even approaches this language. The Alter Rebbe is saying it's something which is possible and accessible for everyone, regardless of spiritual level, to able to arrive at this love, and not stama love, but as he says over here, ava bisgalus liba yomoicha, a love which is revealed in the heart and a love which is revealed in the mind, and this is something which is shaykh for every person. Who? And how is this? And as we go on, probably not today, but probably next week, we will explain, we will return to this Mo'ed Mo'ed, and we'll explain why, in a qualitative way, this love is so much easier to arrive at than any other love that Alter Rebbe described up until this point. It's not just a different love, qualitatively easier, yes?
Why don't we wait till Perek 46 to say the one that...
Okay, you could only ask that question after you finish learning the Tanya twice.
Which you have, so I can ask you.
But do you understand why I'm saying that? Because Tanya has a structure to it. And in other words, when you have the structure, then you can say, oh, you say, well, maybe you should have been in Perik after Perik Yudal, or maybe you should have been after, what?
Because it wouldn't have the impact, appropriate impact.
So ultimately, there's a reason why the idea of Avos Hashem, we got to in Perik Mem Gimel, we didn't get to it earlier, really. And within the levels of Ava, there's a reason why this one comes last also, which obviously, once we finish this, maybe we're in a better position to look back and figure out why that is.
This Ahava, it's not Ahava Hatluya Badavar, like they have two Ahava, Amnon and David.
And Tamar, right. It's not a Tluya B'davar B'tela, as the Bartanura says. The Bartanura says that Kol Ava Tluya B'davar, any Ava which is dependent on something which is transient, something which is passing. Here today, gone tomorrow, so the love will also go away. This definitely is not a Ava Tluya B'davar. It's not dependent on something which is here today and gone tomorrow.
This is
right. Sorry?
That's everyone has that, right?
Right, but this is a unique way how to awaken it. And that is Kasher Yasum Alibi, when a person takes the heart, Masha Amar of that which the pasuk says in Mishli, Kamayim Apanim Lapanim, like water reflects. Like a face reflects a face in water. In other words, if you look into water and you'll see a reflection of your own face in there, and if you're smiling, the face you'll see is smiling, and if you're frowning, the face you'll see is frowning. Kain leva adam al adam. The same thing is also the heart of one human being to another human being. Pirush, what does this mean? Just like shekdemus v'tzuras aponim, the exact form, the exact shape of a face, sha'adam mara b'mayim, that a person shows in the water. Kach nira leisham b'mayim, that is what will appear to him in the water. Isa tzura atzma, that very form. Kach mamish, the exact same thing. Leiv ha'adam, the heart of a person, haneman ba'ahavase li'ish acher, which is faithful in its love to another person. Harei avazu, this ava, me'ireres ahava b'leiv chaveri elav gamkein, naturally awakens a reciprocal love in the heart of the friend. Li'es ayavim nemanim zelazeh, that both of them should have incredibly and dependable, reliable, and faithful love one to another, and befrat, especially kshereya avas chaveri love, especially when the person sees the other's ava, which is a very interesting thing that Alter Rebbe is saying over here, which is that this is a rule of nature. The rule of nature is that hearts reflect each other, and if you love another person, that person will love you back, and if you're angry at another person, that person will be angry at you. Whatever feeling you project upon another, it's automatic that feeling will be projected back at you. And then the Alter Rebbe ends off and says, Bifrat, and especially, love, when you see that love, which implies that this rule really is true even if you don't see the love. That means if you awaken within your heart a love for another person, even if the other person happens to be 100 miles away, doesn't see you, there is something there that automatically that will arouse the love within the fellow. However, sorry?
What about unrequited love? I mean, that's that happens all the time.
Right.
It's not...
Right. That's because ultimately we have freedom of choice, and we have the ability to be able to even to block natural instincts and impulses. So if I can naturally feel a love for another person, but I can use my mind and make a choice to override it and decide I don't want to. But there's no question that love automatically elicits love. The other person can then work on repressing it or stifling it.
How's he going to see if he's 3,000 miles away? How does he know that you're eliciting love to him?
Right.
That he would reciprocate.
Right. So it's a spirit. It's a spiritual reality. There's something beyond which the eyes can see and which the ears can hear. There are deeper truths also, and this is one of those deeper truths, which is that hearts reflect each other. How much more so, says the Alter Rebbe, when that love is visible. Now, not only you love another person, but you actually demonstrate that love, then how much more so than that love is reciprocated. Now, we're going to move on over here, and we're going to talk about when we consider how much Hashem loves us, and that's going to be what we're going to be talking about over the next few prakim. when we consider how much Hashem loves us, what's going to happen is that's going to naturally cause us to love Hashem. We're not going to have to create a love, because it's human instinct that if someone else shows us love and we feel that love, then we reciprocate that love. Now, the Rebbe says over here, he brings down the pasuk, "Kamayim apanim lapanim kein leva adam el ha'adam." That's a pasuk in Mishli, and then he gives us 4 lines or 5 lines of explanation. What does it mean? That means that just like the water reflects a face, same thing is also. So the hearts also reflect each other, and therefore, if one person loves another, the other person will automatically love that person back. Why does the Alter Rebbe need to give the pirush? Why doesn't he just say the pasuk? We all know what the pasuk means. So the Rebbe explains something interesting. He says like this: Sefer Mishli, which is a sefer which, as we know, was written by Shlomo HaMelech, is a sefer of. It's there to teach us Musar. It's there to teach us life lessons. It's not Shlomo HaMelech just demonstrating his wisdom and telling us things that might be very wise but are useless. But no, every single thing which is in Mishli is there to teach us a lesson. Now, I don't remember the exact words in the beginning of the sefer, but the first words of the sefer Mishli is stating the. Can you keep on going?
That's enough.
That's enough. Okay. I believe that the first psukim, maybe I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, the first psukim, it lays down the l'tichachas musar, to give over and to teach you how to live a proper life. So, kemayim apanim lapanim kein leva adam la'adam. The fact that hearts reflect each other, that might be an interesting truth, it might be a fascinating tidbit of information, but in which way is that musar? In which way is that a hira? I hope you checked first to make sure that Tanya says that. Mishli Shneimah ben David Melchishol, Ladas Chochma u'Musar, Lahavin Imrei Bina, Lakachas Musar Haskel, Tzedeko Mishpato Misharim. So right, the first psukim lays down what Mishli is about, right, to teach us Chochma and Musar, Imrei Bina, Musar Haskel, etc. So the question is, K'mayim apanim lapanim, thank you, Kein leva adam ala adam. It's nice. Hearts reflect each other, but in which way is that a hira? In which way is that a moral for us? What's the bottom line for us? So therefore, Pashup Shat in the pasuk of K'mayim apanim lapanim kein leva adam la'adam is that it's taka a lesson for us. When someone K'mayim apanim lapanim, just like water reflects a face, kein leva adam la'adam, the appropriate thing is that a heart should reflect another heart. So if you see someone who's showing love to you, the proper thing to do is to reflect that love, just like water reflects a face. The proper thing is that our heart should reflect love which another projects in that person's direction. Now that's a very nice pshat in the pasuk, but the problem is that's not what the Alter Rebbe is saying here. The Alter Rebbe isn't saying that we should think, well, since Hashem loves us so much, therefore it's appropriate for us to love him back. That's not, Alter Rebbe is saying over here something very different. Alter Rebbe is saying very clearly that the ava ma'ireres ava, that this is a natural thing. It's not something which is it's a natural thing. It's a natural thing that a heart reflects another heart.
Just like the reflection is an automatic thing. In
Right.
the very way the reflection
Right.
is automatic.
So why does Shlomo if it's automatic, I need to. Shlomo had to.
So what's the lesson in life to us? It's a very powerful lesson in life. The powerful lesson in life, I'll tell you, this is actually next week's parsha. Next week's parsha begins with the words Vayigash Elav Yehuda. Vayigash. Yehuda approaches Elav Yosef. Why did it say Vayigash Elav Yehuda? It should have said Vayomer Yehuda al Yosef. They're in the middle of a conversation. The conversation begins at the end of this week's parsha. They're already talking with each other. And then it says, Vayigash Elav Yehuda. Yehuda suddenly approaches Vayomer and he says, Bi Adoni. What do you mean? They're in the middle of talking. All the Mefarshim asked this question. Including Rashi Yosef answers this question. So, the Rechaim gives an answer al derech Pshat, but then the Rechaim HaKadosh says that al derech Hadrush, Vayigash Elav Yehuda means that Yosef emotionally approached Yehuda emotionally approached Yosef. He realized that he needs Yosef's favor. He needs that Yosef should look at him and like him. And there's a problem. The problem is that he doesn't like Yosef. He was very angry and very upset. And Yosef is apparently an Ovid Avodah Zarah, and Tzaddikim in many ways don't like Ovid Avodah Zarah. But he realized that if he wants to accomplish his goal, there has to be the Vayigash love. He has to come close. He has to be mo'ir to some sort of love for him, which will automatically cause that Yosef k'mayim apanim lapanim, kein le'eva adam la'adam, which is the pasuk that Erechaim brings down over there. That will cause Yosef to like him back.
He didn't know it was Yosef, though.
He didn't know it was Yosef.
So, I mean, this applies if he was a
He, in other words, whoever that person sitting on that ruler
Jewish
sitting,
or not Jewish.
Safnas Paneach, the person sitting on that throne,
Yeah.
Vayigash Elav, he emotionally brought himself near
Connect with him.
in order to bring about a reciprocal. So therefore, K'mayim Apanim, once we understand this rule of K'mayim Apanim Lapanim, Kein Le'eva Adam La'adam, we understand this idea that if the hearts reflect each other, that's a very important lesson in life. Because if I want someone to love me, then I have to love them first. And that's why it's in Sefer Mishli. It's a very powerful lesson. It's a very powerful lesson in many areas, including, but especially the area of relationships. Is that when someone wants to, when there are issues in a relationship, so many times there's distance between the two people in a relationship. Now how do you go? I mean, what I'm going to say now is going to sound simplistic, and it is a bit simplistic, and obviously there's much more to it, but it's still true what I'm saying in almost every single case, which is it's very difficult to fix things when there's a distance, and each side is always waiting for the other one to take the initiative and to bridge that distance and to come closer. And so what Shlomo Melech is telling us, you should know, you want the other side to come closer, you want the other side to have to feel close to you, take the initiative. You start first. K'mayim upon him, and that's a sure way. Is that going to fix all the problems? Probably not. But first of all, it'll fix a lot of the problems. But most importantly, if you start feeling close to the other, which automatically brings the other to start feeling closer to you, then you're in so much of a better position to work on the issues, because you're working on the issues from a place of closeness as opposed to working on it from a place of distance and friction. So the reason why Shlomo Melech says this, tells us this rule of nature. He's not just trying to tell us a rule of nature, hey, look how smart I am, I figured out that hearts reflect each other, but it's actually a very, very practical and important lesson in life in terms of a relationship, that when a relationship needs some help, instead of going and demanding the other person, where are your feelings towards me? The way to get the other person to have feelings towards you is to intensify first your feelings towards the other. And that's because it's this basic rule of nature that hearts reflect each other. We know that everything is bashgacha pratis, and there's a very famous shalah which the Rebbe cites many times, where it says that actually that's something else, leave that out for now. Everything is bashgacha pratis. So we're sitting here, we're learning this on Chanukah, and this is very relevant to Chanukah, because to a certain extent the whole dynamic that played itself out on the Yom Tov of Chanukah is about K'mayim hapanim lapanim ken leva adam ala adam. How is that? We find by Chanukah, something interesting and unique. When it comes to lighting the menorah, the Chachamim were originally misaken. The takana of the Chachamim was that in every home and every night of Chanukah, there should be a candle lit. One candle in the house. So on the sixth night of Chanukah, you'd go into the house and there'd be one candle lit. That was the original takana. That because to commemorate the Nes, we light a candle. Every night we light a candle. One candle per house. And then we know the Gemara tells us there's Mahadrin. The Mahadrin is that every single person in the house lights a candle every night. So if there are 5 people in the house, on the first night of Chanukah, everyone lights one candle. And on the second night of Chanukah, everyone lights one candle. And the third night of Chanukah, everyone lights one candle. So if there are 5 people in the house, you have 5 candles every night. In the original takana, it was 1 candle per night, no matter how many people there are in the house. Mahadrin, if you want to do the mitzvah extra special, then every single night, everyone in the house lights a candle. And then there's Mahadrin and Mina Mahadrin. Mahadrin, extra special way to do the mitzvah is that every night of Chanukah, you light the first night 1, the second night 2, the third night 3, etc. And then there's machlokes haposkim what that means, whether everyone in the family does that or one person. That's mahadrim and mahadrim. They say there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fact that the first night you light 1, the second night 2, and the third night 3. That's mahadrim and mahadrim. And there are two things which are peculiar over here. Number one, we don't find anywhere else in halacha the concept of mahadrim and mahadrim. We don't find it. Sometimes you find it written from mahadrim and mahadrim, but that's a borrowed term. It's a borrowed terminology. In halacha, there is no concept other than a Chanukah of mahadrim and mahadrim. You have hiddur mitzvah, and you can be mahadr a little, you can be mahadr a lot. But either way, as much as you're mahadr, there's a chiyut of hiddur mitzvah, as the Gemara says in Baba Kama, is ad shlish, up to a third. Afterwards, it's optional. But either way, no matter how much you're mahadr, it's only hiddur mitzvah. There's no mahadr min mahadr. You can buy an esrog for $10. That's the mitzvah. And then if you buy a nice esrog for $30, that's hiddur mitzvah. And if you buy an esrog for $3,000, you're still doing hiddur mitzvah. You're not mahadr min mahadr. So that's one interesting thing about Chanukah is that we have mahadr min mahadr. And then on top of that, not only is this the only place where we have mahadr min mahadr, but as the Ramah says, it's a minig pashut by all of Klal Yisrael that everyone does mahadrin min mahadrin. Imagine that. Have you ever been in a house where you went into the 5th night of Hanukkah and there was one candle? Or everyone lit one candle?
No.
Doesn't exist. Everyone who keeps Hanukkah does mahadrin min mahadrin.
So how's that different from hiddur mitzvah of other mitzvahs? Why you call this mahadrin as opposed to other mitzvahs like esrog?
This is what we have two things we need to understand. Number one, why is there mahadrin and mahadrin?
So what are you gaining? It's
right.
The same thing, right? Why is the terminology changed?
It's two levels. There's two levels of hiddur.
But in the esrog also, you have a $30 esrog.
It's not another level of hiddur.
No. One
you can buy esrog.
The other.
There's buying an esrog. There's buying a more beautiful esrog. So then, what if I buy it for $10,000? Then it's mahadrin and mina mahadrin and mina mahadrin. It doesn't work that way. It's all part of the hiddur. But once again, the amazing thing is that everyone does it. I had the pleasure of hosting my brother and his family tonight in my house. Canada had a lot of kids. We had house tonight. We had 9 menorahs lit in the house tonight. And if you're counting the oil, when you buy those packages, it's expensive. So you would think that why do I have to mahadrin and mahadrin? So much easier to light one per night, per family. Even if everyone lights one, it's much cheaper that way. But we don't find that. No one takes a shortcut. Everyone lights mahadrin and mahadrin. Why is that?
It's the only mitzvah in the whole Torah.
That what?
That the whole word keeping mahadrim.
And why? Why is that? So the Rebbe explains that first we have to understand another question, a very, very famous question, which is that the whole miracle of Hanukkah, the main miracle of Hanukkah, which we commemorate by lighting the menorah, was the fact that the menorah they couldn't find Shem and Tahir in the Beis Hamikdash. They only had enough for one day, and that one day the Shem and Tahir lasted for 8 days. So as you do the shayla that it's a bewusste idea halacha gemara psachim that tuma hutra b'tzibur, that if everyone's tamei, or if all the kelim in the Beis Hamikdash are tamei, or anything, then all the necessary supplies are tamei, then you're allowed to light b'tumah. So here the Eibishter makes this whole miracle, which was unnecessary. They could have lit the oil, which was tamei. So why was it necessary to have this miracle? So it's brought down in Sfarim that the reason why it's necessary to have that was that the taka wasn't necessary, and the Eibishter made this nes to show chibasan shal Yisrael, to show how much He loves us, and that's what makes the Hanukkah miracle unique, is that it wasn't needed. It wasn't needed. But the Eibishter wanted to show something extra special. He wanted to show His love. He wanted to show how precious the Yidden are. So He made this miracle. Sorry?
Why wasn't it needed?
Why wasn't it needed? Because they could have lit the tamei oil. Al pi halacha, they could have lit the oil with just stomach, because tuma hutra b'tzibur. Moreover, if you think about the Yom Tov of Chanukah, so every other Yom Tov that we have, the main ness was that we were saved from an enemy, whether it was Purim, whether it was Yis Mitzrayim, or we were saved from a danger, Sukkot, with Anani HaKavod. And over here, the ness, what would have happened if there wouldn't have been oil? What would have happened? Would we have been in danger? We wouldn't have been able to do the mitzvah. So the ness was, the Eibishter had to interfere for that. Think about that. If we couldn't do the mitzvah, then there's a rule of Oynes Rachmana Patre. You can't do the mitzvah, the Eibishter forgives you.
We still have the miracle of the victory anyway. That was a miracle.
Yeah, but the main reason why the Chanukah, when the Gemara says, my Chanukah, what is the Gemara says in Sefta Shabbos, what is Chanukah? What's the big deal? And it says, that they right, and then when they won the battle, they went in and they found a little oil. In other words, the Gemara is very clear that as Rashi says, "My Chanukah leiza nes kavua." The Gemara is very clear that, and what was the Yom Tov Nikva? What was it established? Was the Nes Hashem, and the Nes Hashem wasn't even needed. It wasn't needed, number one, because had we not had the oil, so we wouldn't have lit the menorah. Okay, big deal. And number two, we could have lit them with Tamei oil.
I'm saying we could have just relied on the that's like all the other Yom Tovim where you're safe from an enemy. We were also safe from an enemy. It could have been based on, just to continue your thought, it could have been based on...
Not every time that we were safe from an enemy do we make a Yom Tov.
But you mentioned earlier that Purim and Sukkot...
I understand. I said all the Yom Tovim when we were safe from danger. I did not say that every time we were safe from danger we made a Yom Tov.
True.
So the fact that we were saved from danger at that time, look at the Gemara, there are many stories of times we were saved from danger. The Yom Tov was made because of the Ness of the Shemen. And the whole Ness wasn't needed. First of all, because we could have lit with Tamei oil, and even if we couldn't have lit with oil that was Tamei, we wouldn't have been in danger. It's not as if Hashem had to rush in and protect us and save us like by other Yom Tovim. So the whole Ness of Chanukah reflects this idea of Hashem going above and beyond what is necessary. When Yidden are in danger, so Kaviyachol, it's Hashem's duty, He has to come and save us. We weren't in danger, there was no problem. But because Hashem loves us so much, and He wanted to demonstrate that love, He was like, no, you're going to do the mitzvah. And not only are you going to do the mitzvah, you throw away that Tamei oil. You're going to do it with pure, you're going to do it the right way, because I love you, and you're going to do it the right way. And therefore, because Kamayim aponim laponim kein leva adam la adam, because we reciprocate that special love, so therefore on Hanukkah, could we do the mitzvah the normal way? Yeah, we could. But no, we're not doing it the normal way. We're not even doing it Mahadrin. We actually, in honor of Hanukkah, we invented a new category. Mahadrin, just that we should be able to show Hashem how much we love Him. And we're not sufficing with doing a mitzvah in the normal way. We're not even sufficing with the normal Mahadrin, but we're going beyond that. We're going Mahadrin and Mahadrin. So we see here this reciprocal kamayim apanim, we see it mamish in the Yom Tov of Chanukah. And the emes is that this is all one big cycle, because I love you, you love me, I love you, you love me. It all started with the Milchama Taka.
What?
The Milchama. Let's talk about the Milchama against the Yevanim. The fact that the Maccabees, the Chashmonoim, that they went to war against the Yevanim, it makes no sense. It makes no halachic sense even. According to halacha, we know there are 3 averos which about them you say Yehareg Val Yaver, that we have to give up our lives for them. Now, that's under normal circumstances. Then there's another rule, which is that if it's a Shas Hashmad, if it's a time when the Goyim are trying to eradicate religion, then we're Meiser Nefesh for every single mitzvah, every single avera. As the Gemara says, even Akis of the Misani, even if the minig is that we have one color socks, and the Goyim say change to another color socks, we have to be Meiser Nefesh rather than change the color socks. If the Goyim are trying to, if Shas Hashmad, they're trying to eradicate Yiddishkeit and to destroy our Yiddishkeit. There's no question that in the times of Chanukah, in times of the Chashmonoim, the Yevanim, was a Shas Hashmad. So therefore there was a chiv of Mesiras Nefesh for every single mitzvah. However, we don't find anywhere a chiv to go to war. Yeah, I have to do the mitzvah, and if they kill me, I have to do the mitzvah anyways. But for me to go and proactively start a battle against an enemy which I have no chance of defeating. Because it's Rabim, talking about Rabim versus Ma'atim, and Geberim versus Chalashim. There's no way to be able to win that war. And yet the Chashmonaim went to war anyways. There is no halachic requirement to do something of that sort. Nowhere. To go to war, yeah, to be Moshe Nefesh, yeah, but to go to war and face certain defeat, there is no halachic requirement. And you can even time that it's halachically questionable. But the Chashmonaim, they were so in love with Hashem that they went above and beyond. They went above and beyond. Halacha doesn't require me to do this, that is true. But for the sake of Hashem, Mil Hashem Elai, they went to battle and they won. That tremendous love the Chashmonaim had for Hashem, that they went beyond the letter of the law, beyond halacha. Because when you have strong feelings of love, that you do beyond what you have to. So Hashem reciprocated that love with the Nes of the Pach Hashem, which wasn't necessary. Hashem went beyond the letter of what was necessary. And then we reciprocate back by doing Mahadrim and Mahadrim, again going beyond what Allah requires me. So we see this concept of Kamayim Apanim Lapanim. It's a dynamic which Mamish plays itself out in the Yom Tov of Chanukah. So really that's one of the things about Chanukah, is this recognition, understanding of how much Hashem loves us, and what that evokes within us. And that's the idea of Persumi Nisa. Persumi Nisa is going out and telling the world how much Hashem loves us, and how much we love Him, and how much He does for us, and how much we do for Him. And that's really at the essence of what Chanukah is. So this is the idea of Kamayim Panim Lapanim. It's a natural, as we see, it's a natural thing from one person to the next. It also works from Hashem to Klal Yisrael to Hashem, that love mirrors itself. Let's do inside. Vihine. Halfway down from the top of the page, first one on the line is Vihine. Vihine. Zehu Teva, this nature which we spoke about, the nature of Kamayim Panim Lapanim, this is a Teva, a nature. Hanohu b'midas kol adam. This is something which is true regarding all people, all the relationship between any people. Afim shneim shavim b'mayla. Even in an instance when you have two people who are equals. When you have two people who are equals, the love from one to another will automatically cause the other to reciprocate with love. How much more so? How much more so is this true? Now, the Rebbe is going to paint us the very, very graphic picture, very clear, very detailed mashal the Rebbe is going to give us. Imagine this. Imagine a great king, Gadol V'Rav. He's great by virtue of his own greatness. He's literally not just great because he happens to be a king. We're talking about he's a great person, and V'Rav, many, many subjects. Now imagine this great king, Mara Avasai, showing his love. Hagdoila Vatsuma, not just any love, tremendous and powerful love. To who? Le'ish Hadyet, to a common person. Imagine a king showing a great king showing incredible love to a common person. Moreover, not only is this person a common person, Vinivza, he's a lowlife. Moreover, Ushval Anashim, he's not only a lowlife, he happens to be from the lowest dregs of society. And if that's not enough, Uminuvol Hamutul Ba'ashpa, he's covered in filth and lying in a garbage dump. And then this king, he literally goes down he leaves his palace, leaves his place of glory, and goes down to the garbage dump. Im kol sarav yachtav, goes down together with all his ministers. And picks him up. Lifts him, takes him out of the garbage. Again, the king could have sent some servants to do it, but the king didn't send servants. King himself. This great king goes to this person, a low-life, despicable commoner, who's covered in filth. And the king goes down to the garbage dump, together with all his ministers, takes them out, extracts him, and he brings him back to his palace, Heichal HaMelech, the royal palace. And he brings him in cheder lifnim mecheder. He brings him into one room inside another, the inner chamber, the inner sanctum. He brings him into makom she'ein kol eved v'sar nichnas l'sham. No servant and no minister is ever allowed entry into this room. Now there are certain rooms which ministers can go in. Only ministers. Certain rooms that even a minister can't go into them, but the servants go into because you have to have someone to clean up the room. And then there's a room that no eved, no sar, no one is allowed in that room. But the king brings this person in. And over there in this room, the king unites with this commoner, beyichud v'kiru v'amiti, with a true closeness, v'chibuk, with embracing, v'nishuk and kissing, v'isdapkus rucha berucha, and a uniting of the spirits, b'chol leiv v'nefesh, and a tremendous love with the entire heart, with the entire soul. Al achas kama v'kama, how much more so? That the ava, a doubled and redoubled love, will be awakened in the heart of this lowly person. El nefesh hamelech, how much he's going to love the king. Biskashrus hanefesh mamish, he'll be totally and utterly connected in the soul. Meleiv v'nefesh, with the heart and soul. Me'umkad liba, from the depths of the heart. La'in kates, without any end. Even if this commoner, even if his heart is made out of stone, it will melt. The stone will melt, it will become water. And it will pour itself out kamayim, like water. Complete expiring of the soul. For love for the king. So this is the mashal Alter Rebbe gives. And we take a moment just to envision the scene. Take a moment. Imagine this great king. Great glorious king. Imagine him going out of town, leaving the city, followed by his ministers, going to the garbage dump. This lowlife is sitting there covered in filth. Takes them, brings him to his palace, enters this relationship with him. Alter Rebbe says there is no question that even if this commoner's heart is made out of stone, it will melt, and he will be in love with the king in ways that words can't describe. So the truth is, Alter Rebbe says that this idea of kamam aponim laponim is true even with two people who are common, who are of equal stature. But there's no question that the dynamic is so much more so true in the instance, the greater the gap between the two. So if the higher one showers the lower one with love, then it's even more so true that the lowly one will have this incredible love for the king. V'hine, last line of the page. V'hine says the Alter Rebbe, Kichol hadvarim ha'ela, every last thing that we just described. Ukichol hachizoyin hazeh, this exact scene which we just painted. V'gadol yoser me'oid b'kiflei kiflayim lein case. The only thing is that this mashal doesn't really do it justice, because infinitely greater, it's exactly what Hashem did for us. And why doesn't the mashal really do it justice? Because we're talking about a king with a commoner. Yes, the king is so much greater than the commoner, but at the end of the day, they're both human beings. And there's you can't say that there's you can't say that there's no that that there's infinite the distance gap separating them. The Eberster, look, the loss ain't Cheker, Hashem, His greatness, there is no V'yumem Malak Kalalman, and the Eberster fills all the worlds. V'seviv Kalalman, and He encompasses all the worlds. V'neide Mezoyer HaKadosh V'Arizal, it is known from the Zoyer and from the Arizal. Ribuya Yechalis V'ilmus Adein Mispar. It is known. We're talking about a king and how great the king is. How great is a king? Well, how many territories does the king have? How many territories does Hashem have? So we know from the Zohar and from the Rizal the amount of chambers and worlds. Ad ein mispar. There is no number to them.
You can count
it. So there's an infinite amount of worlds. And in every single world, and in every single chamber within every single world, ribui revavis malachim, tens of thousands of malachim le'ein kates v'tachlis, without end. So we're talking about greatness of Hashem. trying to give a mashal of a king is not really doing it justice, because Hashem, we're talking about, again, infinite worlds, infinite ministers and servants and angels. As the Gemara says, the Gemara points out that there seems to be a stira between two psukim. See, if one pasuk says, Hayesh misbar legedudav. One pasuk says, is there a number to Hashem's, to the legions, the divisions in Hashem's army? That's one pasuk. Uksiv, and there's another pasuk that says, Elef alaf and Yishem shunei. 1,000 serves him. 1,000 is how much? It's 1,000,000, right? And 10,000 times 10,000 are in front of him. 10,000 times 10,000 is, I don't know, a lot, right? But that's a stira. That's a contradiction, because the first pasuk says, is there a number to his, which means that's infinite. But here we're saying a number. It's a very large number, but it's finite. Umishani, and the Gemara answers, in every single one of the divisions of Hashem's army, that's where there are 1,000, 10,000 times 10,000. But how many divisions does Hashem have? That ain't mispar. That's taka infinite. So there's a limited amount of, when we say limited, a huge number, but a limited huge number of malachim in every single one of the divisions, but there's an infinite amount of divisions. So the Eibishter, we want to talk about the greatness of Hashem compared to, there's no king that comes even close. And then another point. Despite the fact that you have all these, the infinite amount of worlds and chambers of malachim, all of them to Hashem are absolutely nothing. They're actually batal b'metzias. They have zero existence. Kibitul dibor echad mamish. They are as batal as one statement. Relative to the essence of the soul. It's a mashal that Rebbe said several times, starting with Perek Chaf and Chaf Aleph. As explained earlier, one statement, but even before it emerged, a statement as it is in its source, in the soul, that as insignificant as that one statement is, that's how insignificant all the worlds are. V'kulam shoyelim, and all these malachim who are utterly, the infinite amount of angels who are utterly insignificant to Hashem. Kulam shoyelim, all of them ask, Ayimekim kavayde. Where is Hashem's place of glory? V'oinim, and what do they answer? Meloi chala aretz kavayde. Hashem's glory is on the aretz, is on the earth. Why? Hem Yisrael amay, because Hashem is with us. Hashem is with the Yidden. Hashem abandoned the higher worlds and the lower worlds. He did not choose any of them. The only ones who he chooses is Klal Yisrael. And he took them out of Mitzrayim, Ervas Haaretz, which was the garbage dump, the most depraved. It was the spiritual garbage dump of the world, the most spiritually depraved place. Makim Hazuma, the place of stink, Vahatuma, and the place of impurity. And how did Hashem take us out of Mitzrayim? As we say in that God, he didn't send an angel. Right? Just like the king in the mashal, he didn't send one of his servants to go to the garbage dump to take the poor guy out, but he went himself because he loved so much. The Eibishter came down to the garbage dump. It says, Hashem says, I am going down Latzili to save the Yidden of the Gamer. In order to bring them close to him. It's interesting because in Nagada you have this whole thing, and everyone, the Shaila, everyone asks us, why did Hashem go himself? Why didn't he send the Malach? Why didn't he send the Sarah for Shliach? And different answers are given. The Zohar gives an answer. But the Rebbe gives us an entirely different answer, which is sheds a whole new light on this. So, I'm sure everyone over here has been by chasanas in the past, right? Now, you're probably aware of the fact that there's a halachically viable option to be mekadesh through a shliach. You familiar with that concept? Has anyone here ever been by a chasana where the chasan wasn't present, but rather the chasan sent a shliach, and the shliach put the ring on the kala and said, "Hariyat mukodesh," as you're married to that guy who happens to be right now on vacation in the Bahamas and couldn't be bothered to come to the wedding right now, but you're married to him. Anyone ever present?
No, never saw that.
How about the other way around? A kala can also make a. You ever saw the kala being absent and the chassan putting the ring on another guy's finger and saying, "That lady who sent you is also not right"? Why? Why not? Why is it's a perfectly acceptable halachic option is to mekadesh through a shliach. Well, it's not done. Yeah. Now, if you're a big Talmud Chacham, you'll answer me that the reason why it's not done is there you go. I knew we had a Talmud Chacham over here because mitzvah boy. The Gemara says in Tzatz Kedushin, mitzvah boy yesrim b'shlucha, mitzvah boy yesrim b'shlucha. It's a greater mitzvah to do it yourself. So therefore, the reason why probably you never saw a shliach by a wedding is because everyone said to themselves, I'd like to be taka on vacation. But it's a hiddur mitzvah to be there myself. So since I'm a big mahader b'mitzvahs, I'm going to attend my wedding instead of sending a shliach. What's pshat? That's a joke. Why is a person by their wedding? Because of a hiddur mitzvah? Because they wouldn't be found anywhere else. Because you want to be there. You want to attend your own wedding. You don't want to send someone else. Why did Hashem take the Yidden out of Mitzrayim? That's a question which is like asking why doesn't the chassan send a shliach to his chasana? It's a very good question on the intellectual level, but the moment you think about it on an emotional level, the question makes no sense. What do you mean why? Why did Hashem come to take us out? Why didn't He send a malach? Why didn't He send a saraf? Because He's in love with us. Because He chose us. Banu b'charta. He's not sending anyone else to take us out. And that's what that God is trying to say. The God is trying to, we're talking about Yetzias Mitzrayim, we're trying to understand the greatness of what Hashem did. It's not just He took us out of Mitzrayim, but the great love with which He did it, that He wouldn't allow anyone else to do it. He was going to go on and do it by Himself. And what was the purpose of Hashem taking us out of Mitzrayim? Kedei lekar v'milav. The purpose was, again, just like in the mashal, the king took us. And the point was to bring, and he took this pauper, this impoverished, lowly person back into his palace. The purpose of Hashem taking us out of the garbage dump, out of Mitzrayim, was to bring us into His palace, to bring us near to Him, Bekiru v'yichud amiti, with a true closeness and a true unity. Hiskashrus hanefesh mamish, literally a bond of the spirits. Bebechinis neshikin, and Hashem kisses us. Peh lepeh, mouth to mouth, ledabir dvar Hashem zu halacha, as we discussed last week. Every single time when we say some words of Torah, when we learn halacha, we're kissing Hashem, and Hashem is kissing us. V'isdabku serucha berucha. And then, as we know, kissing is an expression of a deeper love, a union of spirits. It's the physical expression of that deeper spiritual love. So the same thing is, the words of Torah is the kisses. Then the spiritual connection, the spiritual soul connection, when we understand Torah, and when we know Hashem's wisdom and Hashem's will, which is expressed in Torah, the kula chad mamish, because Hashem is one with Torah. So when we learn Torah, we're becoming one with Hashem. So we're kissing Hashem when we say words of Torah. We're uniting our spirit with Hashem, which is the inside of the kiss, when we understand Torah. And Hashem is hugging us, when we do physical mitzvahs. With our 248 limbs, because the Ramach Pikudin and Ramach Even the Malka, the 248 mitzvahs are the 248 limbs of the king, Kiniskar Liyol. So every single mitzvah, that's the body, the 248 mitzvahs is the body of Hashem. And that means when we do a mitzvah, we're literally getting a hug from Hashem. We're being hugged by Hashem. V'derech klal. And as we know in general, nechlakin, all the mitzvahs in the Torah are divided l'shalish, are divided into three sorts. There are three types of mitzvahs. There are those bechinas yamin, there are those that come from the right side, the mitzvahs that come from Hashem's chesed. Usmoil, and those that come from the left side, mitzvahs that come from Hashem's gevura. Ve'emtza, those that come from the middle. Shem Chesed, Din, and Rachmim. Trade, and what are these three? These are trade, droyin, v'gufa, v'chulu. So there are certain mitzvahs that are Hashem's right hand, there are certain mitzvahs which are Hashem's left hand, and there are certain mitzvahs which are Hashem's kaviyachol, his torso. So when we're doing a mitzvah, we're doing mitzvahs, we're getting the complete hug from Hashem, the right hand, the left hand, and the torso are being hugged by Hashem. So this is what we have to contemplate. Is to contemplate this idea that Pashat Hashem, just like this simple person who was taken by, was lying in the dump and pulled out of the garbage and brought into the palace. Imagine how much love that he would have for the king. If we were to take some time to contemplate, in the words of the Alter Rebbe, exactly this thing and exactly this scene, the Gadol Yeser, and even more than that, Hashem did this for us. Then how can we not have this incredible love for Hashem? Now, if you remember, at the beginning of this year, we spoke about this idea of Karev Elacha Hadavar Me'oid Mi'oid. This Ava is Me'oid Mi'oid. Not only a little close and a little practical, but Me'oid Mi'oid. Why is that? So they actually asked the question by the Rebbe. They asked the Rebbe, why is it that the Alter Rebbe is describing this Ava as Me'oid Me'oid? And the Rebbe said something incredible. He said, you remember we spoke last week a little. There are different levels. We spoke originally about a few different levels of Ava in the Prakim Mem Gimel and Mem Daled. And in all those levels of Ava, being lowly is a stira to the Ava. Being lowly is an impediment to loving Hashem.
What's your lowly?
Being a lowly person, being a grubber, coarse, materialistic, lowly person,
Low life.
being in the spiritual garbage dump, as the Alter Rebbe describes over here, is an impediment to having a love for Hashem. To love Hashem, you need to become more spiritual. You need to become holier. You need to have His bindiness. You need all the different avenues towards love which the Alter Rebbe gives, and all of them, the bottom line of them is stop being so lowly, because if you're so lowly, you won't be able to love Hashem. Then in the last Perek, we discussed a level of love, which, as we discussed last week, even if you're lowly, you can have that love for Hashem, because that love relies on midas harachmeh. Midas harachmeh. And we try to evoke Hashem's rachmim for us. And since Hashem's rachmim is infinite, we're talking about the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim. Hashem's rachmim never end, never stop. So even if you're lowly, you can experience love if you're able to awaken and evoke the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachmim. So again, we discussed levels of love where being lowly is an impediment to the love, and you have to elevate yourself. And then in the last Perek, we discussed a level of love where being lowly is not an impediment. In our Perek, says the Rebbe, we're discussing a love in which not only is being lowly not an impediment, but to the contrary. The more lowly you are, the more love you'll have for Hashem. Think about that. The whole point of the mashal Alter Rebbe is giving about the king, and how much that person will love the king. That love is going to be magnified and multiplied so much more because of the fact that the king should come down and love and demonstrate such love to such a lowly person. So the fact that the person is lowly is going to make him love the king even more. Wow! He loves me even though I'm so lowly. And the more lowly and the more filthy he is, the greater the love that he will have for the king. So someone comes and says, this Perek Memvav, this Ava, I can't have the Ava, I'm too lowly. Says Doctor, what do you mean you're too? If you're too lowly, then I'm talking to you. This is the love itself, the lowliness itself is leveraged to bring you to love. Not, again, in the last Perek, in Perek Mem Hey, the Alter Rebbe says you can love Hashem despite being lowly. Here he's not saying you can love Hashem despite being lowly. The more you ponder how lowly you are, the greater the love you're going to have for Hashem. Because you should know that regardless of how low you are, regardless of how much in the garbage dump you are, the Eibishter still took you out of Mitzrayim and takes you out of Mitzrayim. And that justifies a mo'id. Because there is no excuse. There's no this when it comes to this ava, there is no excuse. You can't say I can't. I'm too low. What do you mean? That works in the favor. You're too low. Then the ava is arish for you. Then for sure the ava is for you. And that's why in this one we talk about mo'id me'id. Now this is again the beginning of a topic, the beginning of a discussion on this ava, which will Mir Hashem be continuing over the next weeks and months, because it goes to Perek Mem Tes. But we're going to be expanding upon this ava of Kamayim Aponim Laponim and adding more and more and more details to the point that our neshamas will be aflame with an incredible love for Hashem. I do want to make one point before we conclude, which is that Mir Hashem next week, Thursday night, is going to be Hey Tevis, which is a Yom Tov on the Chabad calendar, a Yom Tov connected to Svarim. Maybe we'll talk about it a little next week. But the bottom line is that the Rebbe requested that in honor of Hey Tevis that people should buy Svarim. That the way to celebrate Hey Tevis is to buy Svarim. So downstairs over here, there's a Svarim store, and Amir Hashem, next week, if you come before this year or stick around after this year, there will be a big sale on the Svarim. Everything will be 40% off downstairs next week. And you'll be Mekayim a Hira and a request of the Rebbe to buy Svarim on Hey Tevis. So take advantage of that. And you can come again either early. From what time can they come? Sorry? From what time will
2 o'clock. It's open
2 o'clock. And then after Shir, after Ma'ariv again. And it's an opportunity to get some good Svarim and at a good price, and at the same time be Mekayim a Hira. We'll discuss maybe a little next week. Okay. After the Chanukah and a good Shabbos, everybody.